Hey everyone, ahlan wa sahlan fikum. So today I want to tell you about something that I've been working on for the past week or so. It relates to this website Wiktionary, which I've talked about in the past. The reason I want to talk about this today is one, because a lot of you have been asking me about Arabic dictionaries. What's the best dictionary for Palestinian Arabic and so on. I think the most famous one is this olive tree dictionary that has been mentioned, but it's transliterated as far as I know. I mean, I've seen it, but it's been a long time. Um, yeah, so other than that, there's not really a lot of resources to check and reference for the dialect. It's very hard. And when I was really learning in the very beginning, I used this website called Wiktionary a lot. And I've talked about it in my video about resources. I've recommended it. It's just that it's a little bit tricky to use because of the difference between Fusha and Ammiya. So let's take a look at how it works, and then I'll tell you what I've been doing with regards to it. So first, not ads. So first, let's take a look at what happens if I just write, a normal Arabic verb, right? So let's write katab. So you write katab, actually not katab. Let's write amil. So if you write, or any verb, right? It gives you all the I mean, it's like a dictionary, right? In fact, it looks like a Wikipedia page. So the title of the page is just these three letters, and then it shows you sort of all the different ways in which that word sort of exists in different languages. So obviously, mainly you have Arabic, but whenever it says Arabic, it's Fusha, right? So look at image. Look at all the definitions for image. That's a lot, right? So the issue with this is that if you're using it to learn Amiya, you can use it, but depending on the verb and depending on the word, you might encounter certain issues. For example, in this case, you have so many definitions, right? So which one is the right definition in Amiya? Or does it mean all of the things? All of these things, does it mean it in Amiya? You don't necessarily know, right? Because this is just applies only for Fusha. It might apply in some ways to Amiya, but you don't know exactly how. So that's the issue with it. And of course, the nice thing is that it also shows you so the main sections are for the different languages. So you have Arabic, you also have like Persian, because this word could also exist in Persian, in which case it's Amal, I guess, or Farsi. But you also have, and this is the key, this is how this relates to us, right? So you also have Arabic dialects, because they know that it's not necessarily the same, and these words can have different meanings. So you have, for example, in Egyptian Arabic. In Egyptian Arabic, it means to do also. Okay, so, and that's a definition that exists in Fusha. So you have to do, but the main definition is to work. Really, that's the main way that this is used, as far as I know anyway, for Fusha. So basically, the main dialects that exist on Wiktionary, there's a number of pages for Egyptian Arabic, for Moroccan Arabic, and for Gulf Arabic or Hijazi Arabic also. And that's really because, think about it, Wiktionary is like Wikipedia. So it's all user based, and it's users who are putting in all the information that you see here. So it just so happens that there's like some guy who was Moroccan, and so he has added a lot of the Moroccan Arabic words or definitions, let's say sections. So, for example, he added this, I'm sure. And the nice thing is that about Wiktionary in general is that you have not just the definitions, but also these conjugation charts. So here are all the conjugations of amila, but that's fusha, right? So look at all this. I mean, you don't need all of this in amiya. So the nice thing is that for the dialects, the people who work on the dialects have made their own conjugation charts, such as this. For example, this is one for Egyptian Arabic. It's quite large, I find. One for Moroccan Arabic is a little bit simpler, and it's like this. And that's very nice because it gives you what all the conjugations would be in Amiya. Of course, but because the dialects are different, you would not be able to, you should not use the information in this conjugation chart for Moroccan Arabic and thinking that it's going to work in Palestinian Arabic. It's going to be different. For example, especially the first person, and that's very weird to me, but it's quite different. So you wouldn't. So if you want to use Wiktionary for the dialect, it's a lot of mixing and matching. Like some information applies from Fusha, some doesn't. Some information from the other dialects can apply, but you have to be careful. So it's a little bit of a minefield. Like it's a little tricky. So how does this relate to us? Well, I thought, well, wouldn't it be fantastic to have, um, you know, look at my spreadsheet. So to have all, my spreadsheet basically on Wiktionary, to have all these verbs for in a section specifically for Palestinian Arabic, so that anyone in the world, because it's Wiktionary, it's like Wikipedia, so anyone in the world can go and check. It doesn't depend on you having a physical dictionary or buying the dictionary or finding it or anything like that, because it's all online and it's all available and it has all the conjugations and it has all the everything you could ever want. So I talked to that user who does the Moroccan Arabic words, or is speaks what anyway, who's from Morocco, and we were talking, and I was asking him, well, how do you do this? Like, what's because there's quite a bit of coding in a way that goes into it. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background of the page. So I thought that everyone like individually sort of added all these words like manually. But as it turns out, it's actually like this programmed template. So all that these users have done for all of these, like all these different charts, all that they have done is actually they've just put in the three letters of the root into this pre-programmed template, and the template just spit out all this information. So basically what I did is I asked the guy, well, can't we just like basically copy and paste the ones that you have for Moroccan and just change the information that it spits out into stuff that applies for Palestinian Arabic? And as it turns out, the answer is yes. So what I have done with my new friend is we've made templates for all of the Palestinian Arabic forms, verb forms, and types, and all that stuff. And this is what it looks like, right? So this is the obviously because it's like code almost. So, but here's where you would have the three letters of the root, right? One, two, three, and then for the transliteration, the yeah. So this is what it looks like, which obviously doesn't tell you anything. But basically, what would happen is if I wanted to now add a word to Wiktionary for Palestinian Arabic, I would just tell it to generate this chart with the three letters that are part of the root. And I've done this for form one, two, three, and so on. So I've been in the process of adding all these terms from my spreadsheet to Wiktionary. Now, right now, so this is the page, the category page for all the South Levantine Arabic verbs. Oh, and it's called that because it's Jordan and Palestine. So I didn't. It was already called that. I didn't have control over that. So it's South Levantine. And here, so it says there's 30 pages in this category. I made all of these because there was nothing. There was just absolutely nothing for Palestinian Arabic on this website or South Levantine Arabic. There were some nouns, I think. I don't know who put them, but they're very random. Now, so everything on here is stuff that I've added using the charts that we created. I want to say we because it was really like he's the one who made the ones for Moroccan, and then I just adapted them. So now you might have seen this earlier when I was explaining, but with Ramil, if you go to the table of contents, you can actually see that there's Arabic, Egyptian Arabic, Moroccan, Persian, and now there's South Levantine Arabic. So that's us, right? So now you can click here and boom, this is the page or the section for Ramil in Palestinian Arabic. Now, in this case, of course, it's going to be similar to the information that you would see for the other dialects because it also means to do or to make. And again, it is one of the definitions from Fusha, but it's only one of them, right? Like all the other definitions from Fusha don't apply. Like to walk fast, no, that does not mean that in Armenia. So it's important, to have this distinct section for this because otherwise, like it's what happened to me in the beginning. Like I was using some Fusha words because I would just search it on Wiktionary and I wouldn't know whether it was used or not. So very tricky. So I think this adds a lot of clarity. And the nice thing is, again, check it out. Click here, and there you have all the conjugations. This is specifically for Palestinian Arabic, and Jordanian, of course. So it's not like, you're wondering, you look at the Egyptian one, you wonder if it is or if it isn't, or how is it different. Here it is exactly as it would be. And it's nice because I'm not able to add that much information on the spreadsheet. I mean, otherwise it would just get so cluttered. So this is the spreadsheet. So it's very nice that I can have sort of additional information here and all the details. And I can also add, for example, synonyms. Sawa. So sawa also means to do or to make. And in this case, for example, this is an even better example of how useful it is because Emel, at least you had some other information on the page for Fusha and the other dialects where you can kind of reference and get a sense of what it might mean in Palestinian if you had no other reference. But in this case, the only other definition for sawa, yeah, so the only other definition was to equalize, to smooth, to straighten. This is from Fusha, but this doesn't mean that at all in Armiya. It's just to do or to make. So it's quite different. I mean, you would never know. Like if someone texted you sawa and then you tried to search it, I mean, it would not make any sense. So now you have that specific definition for Arabic. Another example, you have the verb khalla. Khalla. I mean, if you look at the definition for Fusha, again, you have three definitions. But now, which ones apply to Amiya? You might not know. So now I've added, and so it's to let or to allow. So خليه يحكي, let him speak, or to leave something. So for example, خليت شنطتي بالبيت. I left my bag at home. And then you click on the definition or the conjugation, and then it gives you everything. So بخلي, بخلي, بتخلي, خلي, خلوا, and so on. So I think I mean I hope that it's useful. I think it's useful. And again, the very nice thing is that it's super easy. I mean, now that I understand a little bit more about how the coding works, but it's super easy to add new entries because I didn't have to type any of this manually. I literally like this whole chart is if you actually go to the edit section, it's just it's just like one or what is it? This little piece right here is what generates the whole chart. So it's quite easy actually, which is very nice. So I aspire to be adding a lot of the terms from my spreadsheet to this to Wiktionary. Now I'm doing it. Of course, I hope one day to have all of the terms from the spreadsheet on here. But I mean, it's a lot. Like the spreadsheet has like 700 verbs, so I'm doing them, at as much as I can. And the way that I'm prioritizing it is I'm trying to do like the words that don't exist on Wiktionary at all. So, for example, ta'awad means to get used to doing something or to get used to something in Armenia. But actually, if you search for this like just a few days ago before I did this, all you would have seen is this. It actually only includes this entry as one of the conjugations, ta'ud, not ta'awad, but ta'ud, as a conjugation of ad. So it's really actually just referencing the verb ad rather than having it as a verb in itself. So I've added ta'awad, which means to get used to something. And again, so I'm prioritizing these words that just did not exist on this page at all, and you would not have been able to like even reference the other like Fusha or the other dialects, because at least like that's why I haven't added in some ways like some more basic verbs. Like you would think like, oh well, the first Arabic verb that everyone learns, daras and katab, stuff like that. But actually, I'm not adding those yet because it's just like in Fusha. So insofar as you can check those still, I'm focusing on the verbs that don't exist at all. So that's what I'm doing. And in fact, the nice thing is I'm trying to link back to Wiktionary from my spreadsheet. So I'm trying to link the two things together so that if you have the spreadsheet, you can actually click on the links, these blue things. If you click on the link, okay, so I want to know more about that, and boom, it takes you right there to the page. So now you have the just sort of brief little entry on the spreadsheet that you can reference quickly. But if you want more information, you can go on, you can click the link and see, it comes from Adira from Fusha, and this is what it means in Armenia, and then these are all the conjugations, rather than just like the past, present tense, and the imperative. You have every single thing for every single, me, you, him, and yeah, so that's what I've been doing. And see, if you look at the original Foshaver for this, it actually means like the definition here is to have power over or to be up to doing something, or then you have to be able to do something. But see, it's kind of roundabout. It's kind of hard. Like if you didn't know what you were doing or what you were looking for, it takes a little bit of mental gymnastics to figure out what it means. Whereas now it's just like right in your face. Where is it? To be able to. Boom, that's it, right? So no ambiguity. It's just, uh, I'm just trying to make it as easy as possible for people who are going to be learning Palestinian Arabic in the future. Really have a good reference tool because there really is none other than like as we've mentioned, like the that one dictionary, or like there's a couple of sort of phrase books and Amiya kind of dictionary type things that are transliterated, moreover. So I really hope that this will, be useful for a lot of you. And if you're interested I mean, because this is a community project, you know what I mean? Like Wiktionary in general, it's just people, random people come and add things. So, if you're interested in adding or working on this, let me know and I can just quickly teach you because it is very easy to do. So, yeah, so that's what I've been doing. Thank you so much for watching. And oh, Inception, I guess a little bit. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for your support. I'll see you in a future video. I have some exciting stuff in the works, including this. I mean, I'm pretty excited about this. Um, so yeah, give me feedback, leave comments. I love to see your comments. Um, yeah, all right. So it's time to go. Have a great day.